Did Intel Corporation's employees in Austin, Texas use the stories in which Harvey Burkhart placed in my mind in order to give me alcohol poisoning and attempt to murder me? Till Pan kept pretending I'd be, the party's just for you, Brett. It's just for you. I'd go down, I'd be waiting to see Sierra Ramsey with Dale Earnhardt and other people who were still alive. That's how I got alcohol poisoning multiple times. They kept pretending I'd see my dead daughter alive at a party with people I knew had faked their deaths. Nobody's told the truth. They started doing that to me around the year 2017. The year is now 2026, and the Carter County, Oklahoma police have me sitting here waiting for the Carter County police to tell the truth about something that the Carter County, Oklahoma police would go to jail for if they were to tell the truth. So let me tell you why Intel Corporation, probably doesn't want the truth to come out. First of all, they're a very diverse company. As far as I know, there's no such thing as a where they have to have they're supposed to have a clear security clearance, for sensitive data. As far as I know, there's no security clearances for anybody working on processors. In fact, some of the processors, like the Ice Lake processor, was being designed in China. So there's no telling. All it takes is one person, like Till Fan, to do something. And I don't even know if that's his real name because, I remember Cindy Fan laughing in one of the meetings, and she said, Till Fan laughing. His name Tom Fan. Started doing that kind of stuff. So I don't even know his real name. All I know is many people have used fake names like Michael Eckert is Chris Blunt from Carter County, Oklahoma. Greg McGee is Greg McGehee from the Catfish Place down there in Love County. There's a lot of people covering up the truth of what they did and what they know. That Chris Bryant, he showed up multiple times all over Texas. Me and April lived in Round Rock, Texas. I was told he was across the little area, and when we were living in an apartment, he was staying in an apartment across the area where somebody was spying on us, me and April, the whole time. And he told the apartment manager that he was the not the CIA but the CCA. And I remember he told my TI when I was in basic training that he was that they were the Carter County Military Police Force. They're not the Carter County Military Police Force. Chris Bryant needs to go to jail for conspiracy against rights. He's covering up what they did to me and to my ex-wife April Finnerty, and to her family and to many other people. Anyway, I'm going to explain FPGA inside the best way that I can. So this is a digital circuit I created. You've seen the board. This is a digital design. This is TTL. The only thing that's not TTL is the outputs over here where it's LEDs and resist. Everything else inside here, this is digital logic gates, TTL logic. If I were to recreate this board to change this, this is basically a mux. That's what this is a mux. If I were wanted to change this to a different kind of mux, it would take me days to add an extra bit and test it out, make sure it works. If I wanted to make an 8-bit mux, it would have 8 bits over here, 8 inputs. It'd be an 8-bit mux. It'd take a lot more logic gates and a lot more time for me to put it together physically. If it were a board, I'd have to add traces to it. I'd have to design a new board. In VHDL, they just write the code. They library the code. They have somebody write the code. They test it. They library it. And then if they need to put a mux in, they just put the code in. It's not a big deal for them because they're librarying code. They've been doing that since I worked at Alcatel in 1998. Jeff Hunt from Lone Grove, Oklahoma, his cousin Justin Hunt was librarying code for Alcatel. I was told Alcatel paid $1 billion for the software I wrote. They used it for the multi-kill processor state machine is what I was told. I was told what I wrote in LabVIEW was a very complex state machine because I was addressing bits. And that's what I was told they used. It was a digital design. Can I find that design now? No. Too many years has gone by. They've covered it up. They've been covering up all this time. So I'm going to show you what Moore's Law is and all that stuff in these next few slides. You can then sit back and enjoy it. But just remember, if this was VHDL code, I could just type it in like this next page. Just type the code in and load it with a gateware. If I were to do a physical design like a board, it would take days to build the board. And this is just a small design. Greg McGee put a modem inside of an FPGA around the year 2012. A person showed up at our company about the same time. Her name is Bian Zhao. Um, Her and her husband used to live across the street from John Chrissy Sr., Jason Chrissy, which is now Jason Wade, John Chrissy Jr., and Barry Chrissy. They also lived across the street from Detective Smith, which is Kelly and Dee Dee Smith's dad. Mr. Zhao worked at Uniroyal, Michelin, and he was doing the programmable logic controllers, the Allen Bradley stuff. But I remember people laughing, saying made him as hot as General Zhao, but he's spelled different, ZHOU, Mr. Zhao. He had like a master's degree or a PhD. And I remember Beyond was around my age. I remember Charles White walking me down the road and said, "Hey, Brett, what do you think of her?" And I saw her, and she was just cutting roses in the front yard. That was Beyond Zhao. Um, she stayed at I think the name of the house was Diane. She owned the house at one time, and then my uncle Robert had married her, dated her. He was in that same house. That house is on Wisteria Road. But anyway, right about the time the Intel Corporation bought Motorola Mobility, first they sold us to Google, and then Intel bought us from Google in what they called the Moon Project. Um, Beyond Zhao showed up at Motorola right before we were bought by Intel Corporation, our small group. A lot of people went to Google. Our tiny little group with Greg McGee and me and several engineers went to Intel Corporation. Right after that, they took us over to where the Barton Creek area is. That's where Intel Corporation is in Austin, Texas. Right after that, they took us over there, and then Beyond Zhao was laid off within like a month or two. She went to Altera. Altera was purchased by Intel Corporation within the next year or so. Right after that, then they started putting FPGAs in the processors at Intel Corporation. So that was Altera, their FPGA CPL design company. Now they're owned by Intel Corporation. Another company owned by Intel Corporation is McAfee, the antivirus company. Intel Corporation now owns them. At least that's what I was told. I mean, I can look it up, and I'm about to, and I'm going to show you this stuff. But there's something going on that they're trying to cover up, and they're using the color of the law to do it. And they're using Carter County, Oklahoma, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and they're lying about me so that they can get away with what they have done. Anyway, have a good day. I'm going to make sure Intel Corporation is investigated for possible espionage. Um, if you've used all these fake names and you keep going around sending your cops following her, if a Laura Paul was in AQS Incorporated, and she was pretending she was there, I saw her. She was there for an interview, way overqualified for that job. She threatened AQS Incorporated and told them if they didn't fire me, and all I was doing, I was troubleshooting boards. I was fixing stuff for them. She threatened them and said, Intel Corporation said, if this is what I was told, if they didn't fire me, Brett Finnerty, the Intel Corporation would put them out of business. They said they wanted to test because I was fixing everything. Within a week, they had no customers, none whatsoever, none. They had to let me go because Intel Corporation was going to put AQS Incorporated out of business. They don't want anybody. They want everybody to think I'm an idiot when I'm not. They don't want anybody to know. I was the one who invented the multi-core processor state machine. They were supposed to have given $1 billion to Alcatel Networks USA in 1998 for that state machine and other things. Other things from Alcatel Networks USA. Alcatel is the company that sacrificed me and sent me to Yada Networks, where Harvey Burkhart started using hypnosis on me, calling himself Kyle Whaley. Using hypnosis on me for about a 2-year period from the year 2000 to 2002. When someone going to start telling the truth so I can go live my life? To give you a demonstration of what an FPGA would be and how it would be used, this program is one I wrote. You've seen it work. So I would do all my software things here. This would be my interface to talk to the board. This is the actual board. This would be the board. And then this is just my output, for like LEDs and stuff like that. But this is the actual board. This is the one I designed. You look inside here, it's running right now. This is the actual schematic for the board I designed. The only difference is I put OR gates on the output as buffers to drive the output so that everything will be pulled to a low instead of, being pulled to a high. It'd be like a reverse logic. So I want it to be pulled to a low. So that's what I did. Um, this is the board I built. This is the actual schematic. The only thing there's OR gates on the output so that it's pulled to a low. So it's high when I have a high here. So you get to see it work. This is the software. This is software working. So this is the parts that I have to make. If I wanted output A, there's A. I have my auxiliary. I have this auxiliary as well. If I want B, C, and then I still have my auxiliaries. I can turn my auxiliaries on, and then D. Auxiliaries are on and off. The board works the same way, and I'll show you the board, in a few minutes. But I want you to remember this because this is one design, and all it does is have these inputs right here and a few auxiliaries. If I wanted my main design, now my main design has many more options. I have A, B, C, D, and now I can also have output 1, 2, all the way up to output 9. And I also have an auxiliary bit. If I wanted to change the design from this to the main design, which was this one, the one I just showed you, I would do a firmware update. Just a gateware update. I would add all that stuff in there. It'd be done in just a gateware update, few seconds. For a board, this took me 3 days to build. This would take me several days to build, maybe 8-9 days to build and troubleshoot and make it work. So that's the difference between an FPGA load and building a board. Is several days, could be months. It could take a long time to troubleshoot this design. In VHDL, they simulate it, they make sure it works, and they program it onto a board, and they test it. Now I'm going to give you a demonstration of my board design. This is this board right here working on this right here. It's just a bunch of wires. It took days to build this and make it work correctly. I had to order the USB interface. But most of it, this part is this digital design, and that's what makes it do what all I'm doing is I have a breakout board that gives me the bits. This is what's doing the rest of it, and then I have this software which controls it. Now I'm going to show you the software. There's not much to it. I'm just talking to a command prompt right here, sending these commands to set it up. And then I go to my next stage. There's nothing inside this loop. That's the false case. It doesn't do anything unless I press start. When I press start, it sends, it goes into this and it walks through every bit. It just slowly walks through every bit. This is how it does it. It's first it sends that command, then those bits, then it sends those bits, then those bits. And it just keeps going all the way until it's done. I can make this where I can, press a button, flip a switch, and change, but I decided to do it in this format. There's really nothing else in here except for that, and I just want to show you there's a 2-second delay between each step, and that's all that's in this program. I'm going to demonstrate it by running it and showing you that it works. So first I got to do is connect the USB port. Then I connect power. I'll just hold it up and I'll show you that it works as it walks through this. So I'll go to the the main controller screen of this, which is right here. I'll go ahead and press run, and then I'll just press OK, and it'll walk through each bit as it goes through.